Hi, my name's Dr Hughes from Crime Psych. I'm a criminal psychologist and I run a business that enables me to bring knowledge and learning to everyone, not just those who are studying at universities or colleges. And I do this by producing a range of blogs and vlogs, such as this one, and free online courses. I also run some slightly more in-depth courses, both online and face-to-face. You don't need any previous qualifications to learn with me, and there are several different subjects available. So once you've finished watching this video, why not head on over to my website and see if you can make it to an event or learn on your own time. This particular video is going to discuss what consent means. Over the past couple of weeks, I've discussed various elements of rape. For a rape to occur, there must be a lack of consent. Rape is when a person intentionally penetrates another's vagina, anus or mouth with a penis without the other person's consent. Assault by penetration is when a person penetrates another person's vagina or anus with any part of the body other than a penis, or by using an object without the person's consent. The reason I'm covering this subject is because of all the stereotypes that some people still have even today. Some situations are clearly defined and one party says no and the other one carries on regardless. Other situations are much less clear. For example, a person may have been drinking and may not be able to give consent. A person might feel too afraid to say no, or there might be a variety of reasons that they're unable to say no. A person may not be able to say no because they feel pressured. If you're incapacitated due to drink, drugs, being asleep or being unconscious, or have particular learning disabilities, you may not have the capability of consenting to sexual activity with anyone who pursues it. Anybody who continues to pursue it is committing a crime. At this stage in the video, I must warn you that the remainder of this video may include sexual references, explicit language and possible triggers. I've included a number of support websites if you are affected by any of the material in this video. A person can consent to vaginal, anal or oral penetration only if they agree by choice and have the freedom and capacity to make that choice. Consent has got to be given to each new activity that happens between two people or more people. Consent can be withdrawn at any time during sexual activity and each time that activity occurs. For example, I might consent to vaginal penetration with a person, but that doesn't mean that I consent to anal or oral penetration from the same person. There can be some common myths that exist around rape and consent. I'm going to begin by going over a few of the more popular myths about rape. If someone gets really drunk, it's their own fault if they end up getting raped. They should have kept themselves safe. And that myth is just simply untrue. You have the right to drink alcohol without getting assaulted. Having sex with someone who is very drunk, drugged or unconscious is rape and is always the rapist's fault. Next myth. Women lie about rape because they regret having sex with someone or because they want the attention. False allegations of rape are actually very rare. Most people who've been raped or experienced sexual violence or abuse never tell the police or anyone for that matter. If somebody retracts their statement, it doesn't mean that they were lying about the initial report of rape. It may simply mean that they felt pressured to withdraw the complaint. They didn't feel able to go through with standing up in a courtroom in front of their rapists, or they don't want to have the media spotlight on them for any reason. The next myth: if somebody didn't scream or try to fight their attacker off, then it wasn't rape. Again, it's untrue. There can be a number of reasons that somebody doesn't scream or fight back. A common reaction is the inability to speak or move at all. They may feel at risk of imminent personal harm if they move or scream. Whether or not a person shouts, screams, fights back or doesn't mean that they consented to the sex. If you're in a relationship with somebody, it's okay to have sex with them. Again, untrue. If you have the right to consent and say yes or no to whomever you want to, just because you consented to one act one time or are in a relationship with somebody doesn't give them access to your body any time they want it. You have the right to say no whenever you want to. You can be raped by somebody who you're married to or in a relationship with. The next myth is that women provoke men to rape them by wearing revealing clothes or flirting. It doesn't matter what a woman is wearing or how she's behaving. If she doesn't consent to sex, that is rape. Everyone has got the right to say no to any type of sexual activity at any time, including with their partner. Consent must be given and received freely each time. I'm certain that there are many, many more myths that I could bring up surrounding rape. Bottom line is, you have the right to say no to sexual activity whenever you want, and there are no exceptions. You must consent to each individual activity each time. If you're already lying naked with someone and have agreed to engage in fellatio or cunnilingus, then activity should be limited to those activities. In that situation, you have not given the consent to penetrative sex. In that type of situation, you have to give consent to each individual act on each occasion. Just because you're lying naked with somebody doesn't mean that you've consented to penetrative sex. If the other person pursues sex, then it's illegal, it's rape. Even if they say things such as, "But you've got me all hard now, I can't stop," or "Oh, come on, we can't stop there," or even "You've teased me too much now, you must want it," or "I know you want it." You have the right to say no. By using that kind of language, the other person is pressuring you into having sexual intercourse. In fact, as we've already discussed, you don't even have to say no. You may not kiss them back. You might freeze because you don't know what to do. You might fear that they'll spread rumours about you or call you names if you don't do what they want. It's all rape, and the only person who's to blame for that is the rapist. You can withdraw consent at any point if you feel uncomfortable. One way to do that is to clearly communicate to your partner that you're no longer comfortable with that particular activity and that you want to stop. The best way to ensure that both parties are comfortable with any sexual activity is to talk about it. I'm going to have to move on now into going into more detail about exchanges during sexual activity to illustrate my next point, as it can become unclear when consent is given or withdrawn. Let's say, for example, you're kissing with a partner and you want to touch her breasts. You could outright say, "Is it okay if I do X, Y, or Z?" Or you could say, "Do you like this? Is this okay? Do you like that?" You could ask them to touch various parts of your body. But just remember, just because a person touches genitals doesn't mean you automatically have the right to touch theirs. They may say yes or nod or touch you in places that you've asked to be touched. There can also be positive behavioural clues, such as mutual touching. However, some bodily responses are automatic, and these occur without any will or any control coming from that person. So things such as an erect penis or erect nipples can happen automatically. This ability to give consent isn't always possible, and some people take advantage of this and target vulnerable individuals. A victim of rape may be chosen because of their ease of access. This might be a family member, a partner, a friend, or anyone that's vulnerable because of their mental health, physical restrictions, being isolated, or having communication difficulties. A rapist might select a target who's compromised because of these vulnerabilities. They may consider how reputable and reliable they would be as a witness or as a complainant. A rapist might consider how drunk a person is and then target them because they're unlikely to be able to remember the details the next day. Quite often, men will target females that they're on a date with. Drugs can be put into a drink without you knowing. Drugs or alcohol can make a person confused about what's happening. People would be less able to defend themselves against unwanted sexual contact or unable to remember what's happened. Drugs used in this way can include Rohypnol, GHB, GBL and ketamine. These drugs are sometimes called club drugs because they're often used at dance clubs, concerts, bars or parties by putting them into people's drinks. These drugs can make you feel drunk even if you haven't drunk any alcohol. You might also feel like the effects of drinking alcohol are much stronger than usual or much more than what you'd expect based on how much you've drunk. They can also affect your memory. This can make it difficult to tell if you were drugged and raped. You might not be aware of an attack until many hours later, or you may not remember what's happened. Some of you might be watching this thinking, but we all know about being spiked. We all look after each other when we go out. Well, I go on weekends away with a large group of friends sometimes. We go to what's normally a family venue and there's an 80s themed weekend party with acts and a disco. Everyone's dressing up, we're all having fun. We drink, we laugh, we have fun. Most of us are all over the age of 40. We all know that there's a danger of being spiked and we watch out for each other. There are men though who behave in predatory ways and are on the lookout for women who look drunk enough to take advantage of. I know that people have been spiked whilst they've been on these weekends. I want to and expect to be able to go for a weekend out with my friends, a weekend of being off from being a mum with a house to clean, a weekend to drink, dance and just have fun. Going out in this way used to be every weekend when I was younger, but these days it's once a year. But even then, I know that I can't fully relax because of the unjustified predatory behaviour of some men. Why should I have to feel guarded every time I go out with my friends? Simple answer is, I shouldn't. It's as simple as that. We need to support each other when we're attacked and raped. Our credibility and reliability should never be brought into question. I have the right to drink. I have the right to wear whatever clothes I want to. I have the right to say no. And we all should automatically be given that right regardless of gender. Any person who denies us that right must be prosecuted and charged and made an example of. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I do hope that you've enjoyed it, but more importantly, I hope that you've learned something from it. Stay safe. Bye for now.